Yo, what's going on, snipers, and welcome back to our Anchorage Ice Tigers Draft to Glory franchise mode here in NHL 23. So in last episode, despite coming off a Stanley Cup win, we simulated the season and our team missed the playoffs, so it was really unfortunate, but I mean, at least we have a Stanley Cup, so I can't really complain too much. We still had some really good stat lines and stuff like that. Like, I'm really surprised our team didn't end up making the playoffs, because I think we were pretty good in pretty much everything, if I remember right. So you can see, like, we finished 40, 32, and 10, which is sometimes good enough to make the playoffs, but we just missed by like 1 point only, I'm pretty sure it was. Let me just check the Western Conference. Yeah, we missed by 1 point. As you can see, the Minnesota Wild finished with 91 points, and if we would have just gotten even 1 point in that overtime, or that game against Chicago, I think it was at the end of the season, we would have at least got into the playoffs, but unfortunately we just missed out, which really, really sucks. But it is what it is. And it also sucks because if you look at like the standings and stuff like that, I believe we finished in, where was it? Yeah, we finished in 14th, which is not necessarily the highest, but still, it's a pretty good spot. Now, the team that went on to win the Stanley Cup, as noted by the people on Discord, is that Philadelphia finished 20th in the league, yet they made the Stanley Cup Finals and won a Stanley Cup. So apparently, you don't need to be that good at hockey to win a Stanley Cup. Their record was 42, 38, and 2, so basically 42 and 40, which is really not that great. You can see their goals for, goals against was not great either. Like, I don't know how this team went on to win a Stanley Cup, but EA be like that sometimes. But like, if you look at like our stat line and whatnot, like, you can see goals for per game wise, we were top 10 in the league with 3.37. Goals against per game wise, we were top 10 as well. And then you go to like even our power play percentage and stuff like that was really solid this year as well, top 10 here. And also, I believe, yeah, it's third best in the league here. So we're literally good at everything. Just the game decided, hey, this year you're not making the playoffs. So, and then that the 20th overall team in the league is going to win the Stanley Cup. So it's kind of outrageous, but it is what it is. At least, like I said, we have a Stanley Cup, so we can't really complain too much. Also, we had some solid numbers from our guys as per usual throughout the regular season. Parrott's now at over 1,000 career points. I just looked recently before I recorded this episode. You can see he's over 1,000 points now in his career, so that is pretty cool. He's the second Ice Tiger, I believe, to hit 1,000 points. The only other one being Jorgensen, who was our first ever pick in this franchise mode. But yeah, we had really good stat lines, really like good depth scoring and whatnot. It just really sucks that we didn't make the playoffs. I think the main reason we lost and didn't get into the playoffs was probably because Aiden Tays wasn't the best backup. Also, maybe some inexperience at net though with Novikov, because this was his first season as an NHL goaltender. He was pretty solid goals against wise. His save percentage not the best, and then Aiden Tays, yeah, really kind of dropped the ball a bit. But I can't complain because he won us a Stanley Cup too. So yeah, Aiden Tays might not come back this offseason. It really depends if I want to run him as like a third string goalie here as like a depth option, because I don't really like those regular season numbers. I like the playoff numbers, but not the regular season ones. But anyways, before we get into this entire off season and maybe making the playoffs next year, hopefully, we do have a couple comments to go through. So the first one is from Hockey Guy 88. He says, tough season. That said, I think Dmitry Leeson should be your first pick. So Dmitry Leeson was the guy that looks like he's going to be maybe a low elite. He might end up being just a top 6 forward, but he is got a 1-year ETA, so I think this guy is definitely going to be our pick if he's available at our spot. And yeah, he might have a zone ability too, which would be pretty damn awesome. So hopefully this guy is a very solid 2A forward. I really hope that he's there still at our pick, because like I said, I really would love to. Well, actually, he should be, because we actually have a pretty early on pick. I forgot that we do, because we end up missing the playoffs. So there is other options we could go for earlier, but I think I might go with Leeson just because of the ETA. The next comment is from Saturn Otaku, who says, you pulled a 2006-07 Carolina Hurricanes. Tough break. And yeah, that's true, because Carolina in real life won the Stanley Cup in 05-06, and in 06-07 they missed the playoffs. Then I think they were back in the playoffs in 07-08 or 08-09, I know for sure, because 08-09 is when they knocked out the Bruins and got themselves all the way to the, I think it was to the conference finals, but then they lost. I think it was the conference finals. They lost to the Penguins, if I remember correctly, because I'm working currently on my 09 rosters, so I wasn't really like, I think I looked up recently that Scott Walker goal from when he knocked out the Bruins recently, so yeah, that seems right in my mind, but I don't know for sure if they made it in 08 or not. They might have missed as well in 08. And then the last and final comment is from Nick Bucker, Barons OC, who says it's a rebuild year, Solani or Dimitri Leeson for our first rounder if Solani fall at defenders. So yeah, since we have a lottery pick, we might have a chance at getting an elite defender as well. Like if Solani is there, maybe Solani would be the better option since I think he was medium elite, if I'm not mistaken. Where is he? Oh, yeah, there he is. Yeah, he's supposed to go 14th overall. I can't remember what overall pick we have, but he might be a really good pick as well. He's also 1 year out. So if we have a choice between Solani and Leeson, it's going to be kind of like, I might leave it up to a wheel spin, but I think we might choose the Ford instead, but we do need more defenders too, because 3 of our 6 defensemen are pending UFAs this offseason, so Solani might be important to bring in if he is still there, so... Anyways, those were the comments I got from last episode. Let's get into this draft re-sign stage. And yeah, not everybody that's on a roster is going to be coming back to this team probably. So we're probably going to have to hope that there's going to be some defenders at the start of next season that used to play for us that we could bring back. I know Bickle, I think, in Dallas is a pending UFA for like offensively, but I don't know if I'll be able to afford him because we shouldn't be able to have a lot of cap space with all the big guys that are already still signed. Like Jorgensen's kind of taking a lot of money up. Once he retires, at least we will free up like $13 or $14 million, which is great. But obviously, I don't want the guy to retire either because he's not necessarily a channel legend, but he's our first ever pick in this franchise mode. So, anyways, let's get into this draft and see what we could snag up at our pick. Because where are we drafting again? Is it 17th, wasn't it? Or something? Yeah, 17th overall. So if Solani falls past 14, which I don't feel like he will, we should be able to get it. Now, if this wasn't a draft of glory, I'd be able to move up, but I'm not going to move up, obviously, because we just only draft here. We do not trade, and we never will in a draft of glory. Unless it's like a thing where I'm just offloading salary, and I'm not using the pick that I got from whatever team, so. Okay, let's see what the top 5 is looking like in this year's draft. Columbus has first, followed by Florida, LA, Detroit, and Vegas. Interesting. Kind of crazy that Vegas dropped off that much because I think, yeah, we had a lot of playoff matchups with them, didn't we? If I'm not mistaken. With like the Jack Eichel days. But then again, they traded away Eichel and I think they lost Mangone or whatever his name was as well. So it kind of makes sense. Anyways, Columbus at number 1 is going to take Whiting, who is a 83 overall power forward. Might be pronounced Whitting, I don't know. But his name is Lars. That at least I could read. He's a really good shooter. Might end up being like a future, what is his name? Avery Parrott. Maybe like an Avery Parrott there for the Blue Jackets. Except for Parrott's a center, but we use him as like a left winger more, I think. Florida at number 2 is going to take an 80 overall by the name of Devin Rome, who is an 80 overall playmaker. Looks pretty solid, great passing. Once that awareness gets up there and that passing gets up there, he's going to be really good. He also has a pretty good shot, it looks like. Don't know how much he utilizes it, though, because some playmakers are really pure playmakers. Like, they only shoot, like, 1 shot a game, which is crazy. But I don't know if that guy's that case. This guy's a left winger, but he actually has good face-offs, so they might be able to use him at center if they want to. LA at number 3 is going to take Bieksa, who's a high top 6. I hate how the game always does that. Like, why does an AI take a high top 6 when, like, watch, this next person's going to be a medium elite that's maybe a sniper, too. Like, I just don't understand why a high top 6 always randomly just goes 3rd overall. It's not every single year, but it's a lot of years. Like, this guy's not NHL ready, and he won't be for another few years. Like, it's just kind of nuts to take it at number 3, but oh well, there you go, LA. And yeah, see, like, why not take an 82 overall power forward instead of a 66 overall sniper? Power forwards and snipers both score a lot of goals. Why not go with the power forward? Like, Detroit gets an absolute steal there because this guy's the 2nd best overall player in this top 5. So, yeah, big wolf from Florida and from LA on that. I don't understand, like, the logic behind these scouts, but oh well. And Vegas at number 5 is going to take Arvidsson, who's an 80-01 overall right-wing sniper. See, like, LA could have even taken a right-wing sniper and played them on the left side if they really wanted. But instead, they decided to go with a high top 6. Like, where's the logic in it? Like, I don't think there's any logic put into that at all. So, EA, you really need to fix your shit with that. I know I'm calling you out already, but literally, like, a lot of your game does not make sense with the logic. It's so weird. Anyways, enough of me rambling. Let's get to our pick at number 17. And did Solani fall? No, he did not, and he was only a top 4. So we missed out on Kari Solani, but he goes to the Oilers. Not surprised that the Oilers need a defenseman, though. Yeah, this guy's going to be pretty solid. I mean, he's only top 4, so he might not generate to be a super high overall. Like, I don't really like those defenders that are 76 out of the draft sometimes, because then they just end up being, like, kind of average defenders. But who knows, maybe he'll be really good for the Oilers. I was also looking at this Ma guy, but this guy is 2 years out, and I would rather somebody that's, like, 1 year out, obviously. So we're not going to take Jamie Ma. He also might be more of a grinder with just hitting, and I don't really think that's something I want to take that early in the draft. So we are going to go a little bit off the board and take Dimitri Leeson just because of that 1 year ETA. He looks like he could be a power forward potentially, but he also might be a two-way forward based on this. If he's a power forward, that'd be nice because center power forwards could help us win faceoffs because they'll be a little bit stronger and all that type of thing. So Dimitri Leeson, welcome to Anchorage, and you might be in our lineup as early as next season, depending, because we could use a 4th line center or a 3rd line center. So you might be the man if you're a high up enough overall wise. Let's see how good you are. 74 overall, low elite though, low elite. I feel like I might want to play him next season, but I might put him in the AHL for a little bit. Or I could play him in the NHL right away and hope that he gets a ton of growth. I don't see a problem with that, but he is a two-way forward as well, which is nice. He's got tape-to-tape as his own ability, which is interesting for a two-way forward. And then he's also got a really good defensive stick, good back skating, good defensive stick lifts, good shutdown, and good face-offs apparently. 75 overall at the draw is not bad, considering where he went. If he develops that face-offs, he could be pretty solid there. But yeah. Pretty solid. It's kind of weird that he's got tape to tape as his own ability though, because his passing's in 80 while his shooting's in 82. You think that he would have something else as his own ability, but I mean, I'm not complaining about that. That means he might help out offensively too. He might not be just a defensive forward. So I really like that one. I'm glad that he's a low lead too, because if he was only like a top 6, it'd be like a tweener pick, but low lead is like really great. I honestly might want to try him as a 4th line center next year. But that means somebody like Hagos, Lucic, Sabrin, Vihico might be in the AHL next year. So our next pick in the 2nd round, we might as well take some more defenders because we do need defender prospects. So I think I might take Ernest Yale. Or we got Yves Larocque. Let me just pin him as well. Another one, Isaac Stevens, 4 years out, makes me feel like he's low late, but he might end up being like a low top 60 or something random. O'Donnell is listed as a gem. He's a low top 4 and listed as a gem. That's kind of intriguing that he's a gem. I might have to go with that. Yeah, I honestly might have to go with one of those guys. Let's see what we have pinned here. I did have another guy pinned, I think, from before. Oh, yeah, this guy's supposed to go next round. I should be able to get this guy next round, I think. Maybe not. Yeah, I don't know if I'll be able to get that guy next round or not. But I would rather take a defenseman, I think, at this stage. So we have a choice between Yves Larocque, BCB, CBC. Let's see what Norm O'Donnell's looking like. He's listed as a gem, but he's definitely looking worse than Larocque. Yeah, I think all these guys are looking worse than Larocque. So I think I'm going to take Yell off this. I'm going to take Stevens off this. I know that Norm O'Donnell's listed as a gem, but he doesn't really look like a gem. He's physical. He's got good shooting. Larocque, his stuff isn't guaranteed is the only problem, and he does have weaknesses. You know what, we're going to take the gem because he's listed as a gem. If he wasn't listed as a gem, I definitely wouldn't take him, but since he's listed as a gem, he's a low top 4, and we need defensemen. Let's take Norm O'Donnell, why not? 64 overall, not too bad. Sometimes I've seen low top 4s pan out, so I'm hoping that he is one of those type of guys that can pan out for us. Obviously, we don't have a lot of time to develop him, but still, why not? And I think we just missed out on that guy that we were looking at. Other than that, the medium elite left winger. I probably should have taken him in a sense, but I think going for a defenseman is kind of important. A gem of a goalie, I might have to take him. Let's see how good that guy was, though. Oh, he was only a 56, so it probably would take a few years to develop him. He's already 20 as well. I didn't even realize that. So I think I escaped a bullet there. Him being 20 years old, and 56 overall. He's going to make the NHL when he's like 24 or 25, which means he might end up being more of a fourth line option. So I think that was the right call in a sense. You know, we only got like a low top 4 out of it. Yeah, I think I might just take the goalie because he's listed as a gem. And he's 4 years out, so he might be decent. So Jorgen Hedin, why not? We could always try and find another goalie prospect, even though we have a ton of them. Medium starter, 58 overall, not bad. Not too bad at all. It's always good just to take a couple goalie prospects in case. That way, like, we have something, because you never know which goalie's going to lead you to a Stanley Cup. Because, like I said before, I didn't expect Aiden Tays, when I drafted him, to lead us to a Stanley Cup win, but he was phenomenal in the playoff run. So, the rest of this draft not looking too good, so I might just auto-sim the rest of this draft, but I feel like I should take players regardless. And I'm going to auto-sim the rest of this, I think. Actually, maybe not. Another goalie that might be elite, but 5 years out. I don't really want to take another goalie prospect. His name is Andre Cons. Seeing the Acons just makes me think of Akon for some reason. It's funny. Yeah, I think I'm going to auto-sim the rest of the draft unless there's a low elite that's already is supposed to go like 7th round that I could take already. Let's see what we got here. We got Mika Barkov, 19 years old, 4 years out. Laserte, 5 years out at 18. Noakes. That is a weird last name. I don't think I've ever seen that last name. Javon Noakes. Slava Solovyov. Nah. Yeah, I'm not really liking the rest of this draft class. Let's auto-sim the rest of this. And hopefully the AI could find us something decent because I didn't really see anything that looked good. So after that, the AI grabs us Garachev, Boychuk, McDonald, and Tanguay. So we only did the first 3 picks, but that's okay because it wasn't looking like a great draft class anyways. We won't re-sign our AHL associate coach. We might look for a new AHL head coach at some point. And we do got some scouts to get back. So let's make sure we get back some good AHL, or not AHL scouts, what the heck. Good scouts. We don't care about AHL scouts at all in franchise mode. But yeah, hopefully we can find some other good players down the stretch. But the only thing I hate about franchise mode is once the 25 years ends, like it kind of sucks when you draft like really good players like a couple years before and you don't get to see them play any NHL action. So that's good. Okay, re-sign stage. What do we got again? We have 28.29 in cap space. Oh boy, that's not a lot. Considering Wong wants $4 million, that would knock us down to 24. I can't give Farrell $7 million as an 80. Reinhardt at 1.65 is not bad. I think I might actually bring him back. I'm going to write down his name on here on a paper. I'm old school writing stuff on a paper, but I think I might bring back Malik Reinhardt as a 4th line center. And then, yeah, all the defensemen right now are asking for way too much. They're probably all going to be gone and in. Hopefully they're still there at the start of next season, or else their defensive core is going to be terrible. Sabrin, that's the enforcer. Damn, he's up for renewal as well. I didn't realize that. Yeah, I will probably bring back Sabrin as well. He was used more as a depth option in the playoffs, but he was a regular season guy for the most part. So, yeah, I think I'll probably bring back Sabrin as well. But, yeah, a lot of the rest of these UFAs are probably gone. So, let me just give Sabrin a contract. Let's do the 2-year deal. 1.9 is nothing. It's nothing. So, and we'll do 1 year for Reinhardt. Let's go to the bottom of this UFA list. Some of these guys aren't going to pan out, so I will release them. Frank in the AHL. I know he was a really good defenseman down there, but he wants a one-way deal, so I can't unfortunately give him that. Yansevsky, I'm very excited to see what this guy could do in the AHL level. 73 overall, low elite, former 5th-round pick. He's got fantastic passing, but his offensive awareness needs some work, but he will be in the AHL this year. That's going to be neat. I don't think I could bring back Acton yet. He wants a one-way deal as well. That's the one thing I hate about Drafted Glories is when 74s ask for like $1 million. Like, it doesn't make sense. Savonin, you're gone too. But yeah, likely all these UFAs here are gone. So I'm going to have to write down them on a list. But once Reinhardt and Sabrin accept at least, Goalie-wise, this is where it's going to get interesting. High backup for Sabrin, 68 at 20. Former 7th rounder. Or do I sign a fringe starter? I think I'm going to let go of the fringe starter, even though he's a 3rd-round pick, just because we have way too much goalie prospects. I think I might sign Sabrin, to be honest. I feel like I might let go of Taze, unless I want to use him as a 3rd stringer. Let's qualify Volk. Let's qualify all our AHLers, really. Just because, might as well. Because we know they're going to all accept, like, 2-way contracts for the most part. Let's see, qualify OU. And then I think Viaco and stuff like that, I'm going to just give some contracts to shortly. Unsigned-wise, is there anybody I want to sign that's unsigned? Yeah, Leeson, he's going to get an ELC. He's probably going to be in the AHL for 1 year first, or for half a year at least, until he develops a little bit more, but he might be in the NHL very soon. Howes, I'm going to give his ELC too, because we need defensive prospects in the AHL. Norm O'Donnell is AHL eligible. Let's rush him in already as well, because we need defensive prospects as soon as possible, so... Just with the amount of guys that are going to be potentially leaving this team, it will leave us a little bit barren, right? So, might as well stock up a little bit. And then these, and then the rest of these RFAs, obviously, will be coming back. So for Viaco, I'm going to risk something. I'm going to give him an 8-year deal at 1.5. And you might be like, why? Well, I remember I was showing you guys his stats like last season. Well, look at this guy. Look at that shooting category. He should be able to score at the NHL level. And every single year he's been in the AHL so far, he's been fantastic in terms of goal scoring. So I think I am going to sign him to an 8-year deal at 1.5 already, because I feel like he might demand a lot in a few years as a UFA. So actually, let me try and get him for less. 8 years by 1.4. This would be the biggest steal of a contract, I think. As long as he plays next to a good playmaker, he should produce. So there you go. Vehicle, let's see if you'll accept that. I could do the same type of thing for Lucic already, too, because I know these type of guys are going to eventually be important to the team. But he wants 2.2, which is a bit expensive, so... let's just give him the one-way deal. Actually, let's just qualify him. Why not? We'll qualify the rest of these RFAs because they're all going to come back. LaRose is going to be a pending UFA next offseason, though, so him and Bomeister might leave the team. Denny, I think, has 1 more year of RFA status, right? Yeah, he does. Okay, so I'll qualify him. Bobkov, I wouldn't mind signing up for long-term. 5 by 6.9. Let's try the 85% trick, just because the 85% trick might come in handy here. So we'll try and see if we could get him on a 5-year deal, because, yeah, Bobkov is probably a very important piece for these last remaining years in this franchise mode. So let me try and see if I could get him for the 85% trick. So I might be able to get him down to 5.865 around. So 5.875 should get it done. If he doesn't accept that, obviously I could go up to like 6 million. I don't mind locking him up a little bit more long term. And yeah. And then the rest of these UFAs I think are going to probably be gone. I will probably sign this Sabrin guy for the AHL though, just because he's a 68 at 20. That's not bad. But I might let go of Taze, to be honest. And he might be still a free agent at the start of next season. But for now, I might honestly let him go. He doesn't want a lot, though, so I might bring him back just as a depth option in the NHL. Yeah, I think that might be the case. Let's advance the day and see if we get all the guys we offered contracts to. Hopefully, like, Malik Reinhardt accepts and stuff like that. Because if they want too much, that would not be great. He did reject. But did we get that one guy on an 8-year deal? I feel like we did. If we did, that'd be friggin' awesome. Yes, we did. Viaco 1.4 by 8. What a contract. What a contract. Watch, this guy's going to score like 40 goals in his rookie season, and then I'm going to look like a genius. But I don't know if that's going to be the case or not. But that is an absolute steal of a contract. Like I said, putting him next to a good playmaker, like I feel like he's a good spot for like the third line, maybe with Jorgensen. Because Jorgensen's been a veteran and he's a playmaker too, so I think that might work out in our favor quite a bit. We only have 19.64 left in cap space. We have Denny, Bomeister, LaRose, who are going to be expensive. Hagos, Lucic, Burns, and stuff should be cheap. So, yeah, so basically $19 million to sign 1, 2, 3 players. And then Reinhardt needs to get signed. I think I have to still let go of the others, especially the defenders, because I can't pay $7 million to an 80 overall, because it would look dumb. So I might be able to sneak Wong back, but I don't feel like there's anywhere I could slot him in, especially with the young guys like Viaco that I just signed. I really want to get the young guys in. So I think I am going to be letting go of Larry Wong this offseason, unfortunately, but maybe he'll come back at some stage. Also, we got to see if there's any former players. Let's give a little bit more to Reinhardt. I don't want to pay him too much as a fourth-line center, but 1.85 is still really solid for a fourth-line center. It's not too expensive, so let's see if he accepts that. And we'll also maybe give Taze a contract. Yep, there you go. Reinhardt accepts. And yeah, we'll give Taze a contract as well as a depth goalie, because him and Pusher will probably be battling for the backup spot next season. So let's see if Taze accepts. And yeah, these 4 guys are going to be gone. So I'm going to write down their names also on a piece of paper just in case they're there at the start of next season. And if we have the cap space to bring them back, maybe we will. Hopefully Farrell and Eichel at least are there. I don't know if Strachan will be there, because normally Strachan goes in free agency, but who knows. Could be there at the start of next season, which would be good. I don't know if we're going to be able to bring back any former players this offseason, no. So that should be good. Those guys are all qualified. Yep, everything else is good. So once we advance a day here, see if Taze accepts. He does accept. Yep, 18.615 to bring back Denny, Bomeister, LaRose, and these others. We're going to have actually some cap space, I feel like, but Denny's going to be decently expensive. Bomeister might be like $4 million. I wish I knew how much they were making last season. But, yeah, 8.075, 7.3, 2.85. Yeah, I feel like these guys are each going to get at least $4 million. So we might only have like a couple million in cap space, but maybe there'll be some former players at the start of the next offseason. But let's, or next start of the season, but let's go to free agency, see what we got. Actually, let me stop the simulation for a sec, because I did not say goodbye to Larry Wong. I'm already at free agency now, but yeah, Larry Wong is gone, and same with those defenders. Larry Wong's the one that's kind of the toughest, because he's been here for a while now. But the defenders like normally switch out every year. And yep, Bickle is a free agent, but he's coming off a really good season, so he wants almost $15 million, which obviously would take up all the cap space we have, which is not worth it at all. So unfortunately, we cannot bring back Frederick Bickle after his 57-goal season. Somebody's going to sign him to some ridiculous money, though. Let me just see what else there is for former players, though, just for fun, before we sim up to the start of next season. Anybody on center? Don't think so. Let me just go UFAs and make it a little bit easier. Okay, let's see what we got here. Any former players? Let's just say bye to Larry Wong while we have the chance. Yeah, what a solid player for where he was drafted. 10 points in our run to the Stanley Cup. Former 4th-round pick, but I think he was projected later even. So there you go. Best of luck, Larry. Hopefully you could maybe get yourself another Stanley Cup. He only wants 4.75, but it's just, I would probably have the cap space to bring him back, but I don't really know if I want to bring him back because of the young guys. Like, I want to get some young guys like Lucic in the lineup and all that type of thing, so they can at least get some development a little bit. That's the only problem. Like, I would bring him back if I could. Yeah, we know that Bickle was there. Any other former players that are cheap? No. It doesn't seem like it. Hopefully there's still some at the start of next season. Especially on the defensive front, or else we're screwed, because our defensive core is going to be looking like crap otherwise. Don't see any so far. Yeah, it doesn't seem like any former players. Oh, wait, there's one, I think. Yep, there's our former defenseman, Dmitry Moroza. He's trying to get $11.45 million, though. So we're definitely not going to bring him back. It's a bit too expensive. He had some of the defensive asking prices are outrageous. Kalina's also back in free agency again after we let him go after the Stanley Cup win. So that's also cool. Maybe he'll be there at the start of next season. Was Pettinger a former player of ours? No. I recognize that name for some reason though. Yeah, there's some former defenders and whatnot, so that's kind of cool. But we aren't going to be able to sign anybody, unfortunately. Let's sim up to next season. And hopefully some of these RFAs start accepting, especially the ones that are actually going to be on our roster next season. But yeah, the defensive core definitely is going to need to hopefully hope that somebody like Strachan is still there at the start of next season, or else we're going to be running like 74s and whatnot in our defensive core, like Tate Akers or Akers. Bowmeister accepts. That's good to see. Morgan Denny's still in RFA, and we're in August now. Let's just see what they're asking for, if that price has dropped down dramatically. We got $15 million. How much did we spend on Bowmeister's last year's in RFA? Let me see. 3.6. That's not too bad. That's not too bad. Let's go to RFA again. Let's see what Denny's asking for now. 3.875. Let's just do it right now. Why not? And LaRose 1.825. Perfect. And yeah, we'll have a lot of cap space actually, more than I expected. But that's actually kind of good to kind of like start building up a little bit of free up cap, because then we could, like I said, then we could bring back some former players if there's still some there at the start of next season. We could have brought back Wong for sure, but I think I would rather get the younger guys in, even if that sacrifices some offense. Like, Wong wasn't a huge offensive guy, but Viaco might be able to score a lot of goals for us. Let's not address their lineup just yet, because we need to check if there is... Let me actually take a look at the defensive core first, so see if we definitely need to sign former defenders. Yes, because we only have 380 plus overall defenders. It would be a bunch of 70s, which I don't want to be playing Howes and Akers and Smith-Pelly yet. Smith-Pelly and Howes need to be in the AHL for sure. So I am going to look for some former defenders here and hope that they sign with us as for defensive core. Let's see. Any former defender that we just let go of. Oh no. Wait, Dexter, were you a former player? No. I remember a Dexter though, I think. Maybe that was in my other series. Let's see. Oh boy, I don't know if we have any former defenders still in free agency. I think everybody might have actually signed somewhere. Oh no, Strachan's there. He just dropped down to a 78. He still wants 3.2, but we have the cap space. So I might bring back Strachan. Or I probably should bring back Strachan at that asking price, even though it's 3.2. Anybody else down here? Doesn't seem like it. Damn. So Eichel might have got signed, actually, which is kind of a surprise, because he wasn't signed last year. Yeah, I think oh, Cronwall was one of our former players, right? Yeah, he was. Okay. I'll bring back Cronwall. I haven't seen that guy in quite some time. Yeah, sure. Two-way deal is fine with me, because I'd rather be playing him than one of the younger guys right now. I forgot about Nicholas Cronwall. He's not the Nicholas Cronwall that threw a lot of hits in the NHL, but still. We'll bring him back, and we will bring back Strachan on defense, even though he wants 3.2. Let me take a look at other former players, if there's any of them. Oh, Duncan's still there. Has Duncan even played in the last few years? Yeah, he has. He played last season in Colorado. Huh. Played also in Pittsburgh and Boston since leaving us. Wow, he had 7 shutouts 1 year in Boston. That's actually pretty impressive. Nice to see that. But yeah, we're not going to bring in any goalies for sure. Let's take a look at former forwards, if there's anybody there still. We can maybe bring back in case. Don't feel like there's any. I'm really surprised Eichel got signed, because now we basically lost out on Wong. So I got to look where he is. We got to look where Farrell is, and we got to look where Eichel is. Eichel got signed and Strachan did not. That's kind of a surprise to me. So I have to remember at the start of next episode to see where those 3 guys went. But yeah, not a lot of former players, which is unfortunate. I also got to take a look at where Bickle went, kind of, I think, because I am curious where he left to. But let's advance a few days and we'll set up our lines, and then that'll be it for this episode at that point. Oh, those guys automatically signed, or what? I think they signed automatically, right? Yeah, I think they signed automatically. So let's go to roster moves. Call up the guys that we just signed. So that was on the defensive front. Actually, did they get called up already? No, they didn't even sign yet. I thought they signed already. Thought I saw it pop up already, but there you go. Strachan and Cronwall are back. Cronwall has not been here in quite some time. I don't even know if he's played anywhere else. But we'll call the two of them up, and we will definitely be sending Smith, Pelly, and Howes down, which means Ackers is going to play this year as a 74. Yeah, this defensive core is going to be rough this year, but it is okay. Because, I mean, we won a Stanley Cup. I can't complain. Glencross is kind of close to... Actually, this is a fourth liner. Huh. That's not bad. I could call him up and send Burns down. Because I don't feel like Burns is an NHL player. DeMarchi kind of isn't either, though. Is there anybody else I could call up? Not really. Who's scratched in the NHL, or is anybody scratched? Hagos, Lucic, and Sabrin. Okay, those three guys need to play. So, let's rework this so it works out the best as possible. So, Parrott, Keith Hartnell, as usual. Claxon, Darby, and Bobkov. Jorgensen... House's face-offs again, 75. LaRose has 76, so LaRose will take center, and Viaco. And in this fourth line, we're taking Burns out for Lucic. Yeah, for Lucic. And then the right side, we are going to be putting in for DeMarchi. Oh, it's a choice between Sabrin and Hagos. I think Sabrin and Hagos will alternate like halfway through the season. Again, kind of. But Burns and DeMarchi are going down to the AHL. Because we do not need them in the NHL. So Burns and DeMarchi, you guys are going down to the AHL team. The AHL team should do really good this year. I really hope, at least. Let's go. Best lines down there. But, like, Leeson's getting to play with another low elite. So that's really dope. And Glencross is up there. Yeah, this AHL team should do pretty solid. Let's just make sure. Pusher's a 78. Oh, yeah, I think I might use Pusher as an NHL goalie. I don't really like Taze's performance from last year. Or I could run Taze for like a first little bit, and if he does bad, then I will call up Pusher, and Pusher will be our backup goaltender. Yeah, I think that's what we'll do. Actually, we have two 78s in the AHL, so maybe I should call up Pusher regardless. Yeah, I'm going to do that. We have a lot of different goalies we could use down there in the AHL. Bissick is up to a 77 as well as a high fringe starter. So we have a lot of goalie options, which is nice for that backup spot. I am going to take Taze out of the lineup, which is kind of unfortunate that I have to scratch Taze. But at this rate, he was not good last year. And I want to just test out Pusher. If Pusher doesn't do well, he will get sent back to the AHL probably. But, yeah, for now, Taze is going to be sitting on the bench, or not sitting on the bench, sitting in the press box watching our games. So there you go on that front. Let me just take a look at the special teams. I'll probably address the special teams afterwards. Ricardo Hartnell should be on this first unit instead of Claxon, to be honest. But I'll probably address most of this after the fact. Yeah, and then we'll put instead of LaRose. Oh, Hartnell's on the point on that one. Hartnell out. And Claxon we'll put in. Oh, that minuses that. Oh, well. Yeah, I'm going to probably leave the rest of this for now. Because I usually don't play around with this too much. So anyways, guys, that's going to do it for this episode of our Anchorage Ice Tigers Draft to Glory franchise mode. So in next episode, we will take it to the season simulation. We'll see how good this team does this year. Because, like, to be honest, our defensive core is not great. Obviously, our forward core took a little bit of a hit too. But I think it's still not terrible. Obviously, like, I feel like we're not going to be as good this year again. But we might be able to find ourselves into the playoffs based on some of our offensive players. Like, I'm really hoping Viaco could... pan out to be that really good goal scorer, because I could always throw him on the power play. Yeah, I think I might do that in next episode too. But anyways, let me know what you guys think down below, and I'll see you guys next time.